open us with prayer, and then give us your testimony, and then get out of here because they got to study for these AP classes they're in.
All right, bow your heads, everybody. Our most Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day. Thank you for all that you have provided for us. We just want to pray over all these juniors and just pray that they'll make wise college decisions, and pray that you would lead, guide, and direct them in the way that they need to go. And just pray that you'll give them confidence, and just pray that something good would happen in their lives as they go and meet these wonderful college representatives. Just pray that this will be a great night, and bless everyone with safe travel back home tonight. All these things we ask in your name, amen. Last year, I went to this event, and just walking in, just thinking, well, what really can I get out of this? And after we concluded with a lot of the Q&A sessions, I met with Kate Henderson, who is the recruiter at Auburn for Atlanta. And we got to talking, and she said, well, why don't you come visit us Labor Day weekend? I was like, okay, well, I was planning to go to the lake anyways. So I went over there just thinking, like, well, why would I even want to go to Auburn? You know, it wasn't even one of my top schools. And after I concluded that tour, you know, Auburn is one of my favorite places to go now, you know, as you can see with the tie. So, so anyways, I mean, I wouldn't guarantee, you know, that you guys can have an experience like that, but you know, it's not impossible. So, I mean, just whenever you go to visit colleges, you know, always walk in open-minded, because I mean, you never know what you're going to get out of this, because it's a great ride to go and visit colleges and stuff. It's so much fun. Anyways, here's Juliana.
I just want to say congratulations to you guys, juniors. This is a huge step in your college process, and I just want to give you some advice from me being a junior last year, and I wanted to give you advice about taking your SAT and ACT as early as possible, getting ready for that. You know, just talking to these college reps, they're very friendly and open and just would love to talk to you, and it is a great thing to do, so that's all.
All right, thank you very much. Let's get them out here to study. So we start our timer. 1 hour has now begun. I'm Coach Tack. I'm your college counselor. I like to come down to the audience sometimes because this is what it's all about. It's about these students right here and these families. And we are here to meet with the experts because they have done what you're doing for one or two or the second or third or fourth time hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. Year after year, myself as a college recruiter, last year I shared a story about how I spent 17 years on the college campus. When I went to college, I didn't get off it until I met David Tilley. I had stayed on the college campus for 17 years, and I was in his office, and it's kind of like that scene in the Jungle Book when Shere Khan's on the thing. He's like, look deep into my eyes. And I was like, somebody told me, don't look at his eyes when you're in his office. And somehow his eyes started spinning, my head started spinning like the wind, and all of a sudden I was signing a contract at Mount Paran Christian School and coming off the college campus to now do it from the grassroots side. But the respect that I have for my colleagues here who are on the college campus still, when I was at Florida State for 8 years, I did not sleep in my own bed for more than, my record was 19 days in a row. And so that's what, I just talked to Nick Missler, and he has some friends in the audience, and he said, yeah, we're just taking a break before the season starts. And are you guys ready for the season to start? Their heads won't hit the same pillow for 2 or 3 or 4 days in a row. And they'll be all over the country, but they're here tonight to serve you and ask and answer questions of you as well as you to ask and answer questions of them. It goes in both directions. I think that's one of the things that you're going to find tonight is most amazing. As I introduce our experts, we have some people in the audience I'm going to introduce to you as well. But tonight I'm going to just tip them off. We're doing a kind of it's called pardon the interruption style. If they go too long, I interrupt them. And you dads understand what that's like on the ESPN show. I might buzz them, you know, we'll see. I haven't had to do that in 3 years. But they're going to have 2 minutes to give you their elevator speech about their school. As we come across the panel, Kate Henderson's going to tee us off. Kate is a regional representative from Auburn University. Kate was one of the first recruiters that I met when I came to campus here, and I knew instantly that I liked her. And the reason why is because as much as she is recruiting our kids here at Mount Paran Christian School, I'm recruiting her daughter. And I can tell you now, Dr. Hill, she's going to take a tour of the preschool. Maybe after the recruiting season, but as soon as we can get her on campus. So Kate Henderson from Auburn University.
All right. Can y'all hear me? Okay, War Eagle, thanks so much for coming. Yay, we got some Auburn fans. Good job. I'm Kate, and I'm from Auburn. I am actually housed right here in Atlanta. This is my 6th year recruiting for Auburn in this area. Love it, have a passion for it. Currently for Auburn, we're about a 2-hour drive from here, so we're just over the state line. For those who may not be as familiar, in Auburn, Alabama, population's about 25,000 students. That's undergrad and grad, and that is a capped enrollment at this point. So we are not looking to grow beyond that. 140 different majors to choose from. Popularity-wise, that's going to pick up our College of Engineering, College of Science and Mathematics, College of Business, College of Agriculture, and College of Architecture. So those are our top 5 programs. We've been consistently ranked for the last 18 years in the top 50 among U.S. News and World Report. We did just win a small championship on the sports side. Andy got to brag about that last year, and I get to brag about it this year. The MPCS National Championship, but also in the classroom. This year's class of 2011 will be enrolling over 180 National Merit Scholars at Auburn, so something we're very excited about. And thanks so much for coming. Oh, and my advice, my one piece of advice for juniors right now is if you're out Mount Huron, I know you have a professional email address, but to use your professional email address, and if you don't have one, to create one, maybe your first and last name, to correspond with us, as well as voicemail, so that when we call you and leave a message, that we know who we're leaving a message for, rather than hearing a ringback tone. So that is my piece of advice.
Great, thanks, Kate. Sarah Okondo is the Associate Director of Admissions at Covenant College, and she has our new regional coordinator, Jessica Anderson. And Jessica, if you'll just give us a wave right here. We have a student, Hadley Cannon, at Auburn University this freshman fall, and Tommy Aina is at Covenant College. So Sarah, welcome for the first time to the panel.
Thank you. It's really exciting to be here. Covenant College is just located basically in northern Georgia, right outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee. So still technically in Georgia, so you can get the Georgia hope. And we are a Christian liberal arts college. We have just over 1,000 students, and that's where we plan on being for a while. We're very excited about what we get to do. Our motto is in all things Christ preeminent, and our goal is to really help students get ready for whatever God is calling them to do. And we want to pursue academic excellence, but not academic excellence just for the sake of excellence. We want to prepare students to think critically about the world and apply their faith to everything. We offer basically a pretty wide range of majors, and our most popular currently are English, business, community development, along with economics, psychology. And we do well in the medical school kind of areas. Our pre-med program has an 85% acceptance rate into medical colleges, and our education program has 100% job placement. But all those things are second in comparison to, we really want to push students to understand how the gospel impacts all of life and to prepare them for not just the next years right after college, but the decades that come after that. So we're very excited to be here.
Thank you, Sarah. Our highlight of the college tour 2 years ago was the snowball fight on top of Lookout Mountain, so that was pretty cool. Allison Ortiz is a graduate of Marietta High School, so she's a local yokel. Her father works right up the road here in the fire station. And one of the things I appreciate about Allison is that she just calls every once in a while to check in on me and see how I'm doing. And so I appreciate that about Allison, and I appreciate the fact that she's willing to continue to recruit her local students as well to Jacksonville State University. So thank you, Allison.
Thank you, ma'am, and I appreciate your support throughout the year. Jacksonville State University is located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. We're just west of here over the state line in Alabama, so about an hour and 45 minutes if you take some back roads, or you can take Interstate 20. Either one. We have 9,504 students to be exact. That was our fall 2010 enrollment. Classes start tomorrow, so I'll have a final count for you later on this week. But one great aspect of JSU, I feel like, is you get the best of both worlds. It's a medium-sized campus, but you get the large school feel with Division I athletics, fraternities and sororities, nationally acclaimed academic programs, but you also have the great things that a small school can offer you. Your teachers know your name. There's a lot of opportunity for hands-on research. So those are some great things that stood out to me when I was trying to make my decision on where I wanted to attend school. We are Division I athletics. We're in the Ohio Valley Conference for the Gamecocks. Not only do our athletes win on the court and on the field, but we also win in the classroom. We have the highest athlete cumulative GPA in our conference. Some of our top programs at JSU, education. We graduate more accredited educators than any four-year institution in the state of Alabama. Our College of Commerce and Business is ranked among the top 10% in the world by the Princeton Review, and the #2 school in the United States for business opportunities for females. And our communication program, which was my major, there's only 3 schools in the state of Alabama that are nationally accredited in communication, and there's only 2 in the state of Georgia. So JSU is a great fit for anybody looking to major in communication. We are known as the friendliest campus in the South, so I hope that when you visit our campus or meet anyone from JSU, you get that same feeling. So go Gamecocks, and thank you for having me tonight.
I think it's important to understand the culture. As you're hearing these 2-minute drills, what you want to do is begin to compare and contrast. This is a small school, this is a large school, this is a state school, this is a private school. This is the culture this school comes from. One of the things about Jacksonville State University, it was known, if you're from the state of Alabama or from Georgia like I am, it was the state teachers college in Alabama. And that has very, very strong roots in education and educating teachers specifically. So I think it's important as you listen to these reps talk about their schools that you understand what the history is. And Andy, I'm sure that the history of Alabama has something to do with Bear Bryant. I'm not sure how far back he goes in the history, but bring it home for us.
Oh, I'm a big man, so I will say congratulations to Auburn for their BCS National Championship.
Oh, humility.
Keeping that trophy in the state of Alabama.
Next thing you know, he's going to be asking about that tree.
Although I do think we hold a slight lead, 13-1, if the math is correct. At the University of Alabama, we are more than just football. We have over 200 different majors. We have our enrollment last year was 30,232. University-wide student professor ratio of 20-1. Our fastest growing college is the College of Engineering, and a fantastic College of Communications and Information Sciences with the #1 PR program in the country. One of 2 colleges in the entire country with a completely commercial TV, student-run commercial TV station. We have excellent programs in pre-med, the largest dual-discipline research facility for science and engineering on our campus as well. So a lot of good things going on, and we're still growing. We're aggressively recruiting students and still growing to university, but always keeping that small faculty student ratio for a large school. We also have one of the best honors colleges in the country. More students from our honors college have been selected to the academic All-America team over the last 10 years than any other college in the country. So definitely a lot of good things going on academically at the University of Alabama. One thing I would say for y'all juniors is to make sure that when you fill out the application, even when you fill out these inquiry cards, use your full name and use the nickname for a nickname. We definitely want to call you by the name that you go by. If you're, Willie Scott, you go by Scott, we definitely want to call you Scott. But when you apply and your stuff doesn't get where it needs to go because you have 5 different names in the system. So just make sure you're always using your full name and there's a preferred name or a nickname there for a reason.
That's a great point. The University of Alabama got 2 of our top academic students last year, Andrew Cavett and Jeremy Huft, and in fact they were the recipients of the two alumni scholarships here in Cobb County were Mount Perrin Christian School students to the University of Alabama. And I will say this about their director of missions as well. When the tornado hit, I sent a note to Rick Funk, went way beyond the Call of Duty when we went on our college tour to extend his services to us personally. And I sent him a note, and he sent me a note back right away, and he said, it really makes a difference just to know. He said, your students are okay, and we've made connection with many of them, and we did it on our end as well. But just to have that, big but small feel is something I appreciate about all of our big school reps here. Probably not a more personal connection than we can have to Lee University. I think we have the #1 degree in terms of our staff comes from Lee University. And Phil Cook, we appreciate you being here tonight. And you took one of our best in Kevin Hughes last year, I'll guarantee you that.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Phil Cook. I'm the Vice President for Enrollment at Lee University. I am pleased to have with me here tonight. This is Brian Sanders. Brian, if you don't mind standing. Brian's our Georgia admissions counselor. He is an Atlanta guy himself. He's a Gwinnett County guy and has been our admissions counselor. And then Kevin Hughes. Kevin's a big man on campus last year at Mount Perrin. And he's already the big man on campus at Lee. In 2 weeks, he's pretty much dominated campus already, as I'm sure you know. So we're glad that he came with us tonight. Lee University has experienced unparalleled growth for the past 25 years. When I became a student at Lee a little less than 25 years ago, there were less than 1,000 students on our campus. In terms of private, Christ-centered liberal arts education in the country, going from less than 1,000 to 4,377 students in those 25 years is unprecedented. So we're so proud of what's been going on our campus and the growth that we've had. Not only in our numbers, but in our campus size. You have a beautiful campus here up there. We are so proud of the campus that we have at Lee. In 25 years, we built 24 new buildings on our campus. And so we're pleased at the metamorphosis that's happened on our campus. In addition, our academic programs are also equally growing and doing better. 20 years ago, when we weren't even ranked in U.S. News, they had a 4th tier 25 years ago. Well, we were 4th tier. They didn't know what they were doing 25 years ago. Now, clearly they know, because for the past 7 years, we've been a top-tier school in the Southeast, and we're very pleased with the progress we've made academically as well. You can pursue a degree in all sorts of majors at Lee, except for nursing and engineering. Other than that, you pretty much have a degree path in every way to being a part of your degree program. As Coach Tag said, we're so pleased to have an outstanding relationship with Mount Perrin. And in fact, those of you that are juniors, if in fact you enjoy your religion instructor, then we're very proud to say Joe Mulvihill is an alum. If you don't enjoy it, then we've never met him before. We don't know. But we're so pleased to be here and look forward to meeting you all later on. Thank you.
That's great, Phil. And I'd like to know, Megan Fogg, are you in here? Just raise your hand if you are. Megan? Megan was in here earlier. I just want to give her a shout out. She is not only our first college acceptance of 2012, but also first college admissions recipient. So she has accepted her offer of admissions to Lee University. So I want to give a shout out to Megan Fogg. Nick Missler and I had the opportunity to meet 2 years ago when I came on campus, and one of the things I appreciate about Nick is that he doesn't forget where he comes from either. You know, he's has strong roots here in the community, and even though he's going to be moving on and introducing us to their new admissions counselor for our area, I know that we'll maintain a strong connection to Emory University, and you get about 2 or 3 of ours each year, so we're happy to continue that relationship with Emory.
We're happy to take 2 or 3 from you each year. You guys send us some good kids. Emory University is unique. We have 2 different options for students, and so I'm going to highlight those briefly. First, I do want to say that it's bittersweet to be moving on from Mount Perrin. You guys are a great community, and it's always good to come and meet with your students. I'll be turning that hat over to Sarah Darden, who is going to be your admission rep for this year, and she'll be on campus here in a few weeks. Emory College and Oxford College are 2 options that you have when you start looking at the university. Emory College is located in Druid Hills, just a few minutes from downtown, and has about 5,300 undergraduate students across all 4 years, freshman through senior year. The Oxford College campus is where the university was founded, 38 miles east of Atlanta, off of Route 20. And it's a very small, historic liberal arts feeling. The students there are receiving the same rigorous coursework that you would on the Atlanta campus, but it's really a focus on the freshman and sophomore year, where you're finding unparalleled leadership opportunities and some extracurricular activities, SGA president, etc., in your freshman and sophomore year. So students have those 2 options. If you're looking for a larger fit or a smaller fit, we have those 2 opportunities available to you. Regardless of where you begin, we offer 70 different majors and over 60 different minors with 10 pre-professional programs. Study abroad to every continent except Antarctica, so that's a nice opportunity that we have available. The other nice thing is we have a generous financial aid program for students. I guess my piece of advice to wrap things up is to not let those financial constraints prohibit you from applying to an institution. Send your application out, then go through the financial aid process and find out what's feasible for you and your family, and sit down and have a conversation about that. But as far as applying goes, get on campus, check out what we all have to offer in the different schools you're considering, and then don't let those price tags scare you. We do have some generous financial aid.
Especially at Emory, trust me. Nara Brister from Mississippi State University. Before I hit Florida State, Tallahassee, I spent time at Mississippi State in Stark Vegas. And one of the things that is really cool about Starkville, besides the fact I've got to find my cowbell, more cowbell, that's what I'm talking about. I got to dig that out. But here's the really cool thing I appreciate about Naren too, is that she just, like all of these reps do, but she just knows our students so well. She cried when one of our students withdrew his acceptance last year. I did too. I wanted him to go there. But it's the only college town I've worked at. The University of Maryland, at Georgia Tech, obviously, where I spent a lot of time, and then University of Wisconsin, and then down to Mississippi State University, and then the most time at Florida State before Oglethorpe and Troy. But Mississippi State is the truest college town I have ever lived in. Little Dewey's chicken on a stick, don't miss it while you're there. Darren.
Thanks, Coach Shag. As she said, my name is Naylor Brister. I am the Assistant Director of Recruitment for the state of Georgia. I live here in Atlanta full-time, been doing this going on my 4th year now. A little bit about Mississippi State. Yes, we're known for the cowbell. Everybody will love the cowbell. But there is more to Mississippi State besides the cowbell. We are located in Starkville, Mississippi, about 4.5 hours from here. We're a Division I SEC school. We have over 100 different majors to choose from. Some of the things we're really strong in is engineering. It ranks 34th in the country. We're also big in the ag fields, also in veterinary medicine and in architecture. Enrollment's about 20,400 students currently. We did just enroll the largest freshman class in the history of Mississippi State, so we are in a growing period. We have a 20-to-1 student to faculty ratio, so even though we are a big SEC school, you still do get that small school feel, which is really great. The Carnegie Institute names 108 schools in the as high research institutions, and Mississippi State was just named as one of those, which is something that we are very proud of. We're also ranked in Forbes and Kiplinger's top 100 schools in the country. And we do have a rolling admission process. We also offer a non-resident tuition scholarship, which if you have questions about, we can talk about later. But one of the things I would really give some advice for juniors is to make sure you visit campus on days other than game day. Game day is great, especially with big schools, being in the SEC, it's so much fun. But that only takes place about 7 days a year. Campus is different every other time, every other day, and so make sure you go visit during those times so you can see if it is a good fit for you, because we want to make sure you find your best fit. So visit on game days, but also go back and visit just on a regular day when students are doing their everyday type things.
That's great. I know, Nick, you took, I think, Olivia Underwood and Taylor Madgett, and then I think Grace Nelson went to the Honors College at Georgia and turned out Emory, but Darren got Allison Keller and Brianna Tawadros, and they are happy as a lark. I have texted them on numerous occasions, and they're very, very happy. So, Pam Ross, the Director of Admissions from Anderson University, our new friend. Thank you for being here. I got first connected with Anderson University through a guy that some of you old Mount Perrin people might know, Omar Rush. Let me tell you what, Omar will sell that school. I mean, he could sell ice cubes to Eskimos, Dr. Tilley. I mean, hook, line, and sinker. I visited the school, I was in, and I'm telling you, we're going to have a long-lasting relationship with Anderson University, a 3-2 program with Clemson in engineering, and has attracted several of our students. With the warm Christian community on the east side, if you're looking for a South Carolina school, this is it.
And Omar is a graduate.
Yes, Omar is a Mount Perrin Christian School graduate.
You were stealing my thunder.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the cool things about Anderson is that our Vice President for Enrollment Management is a graduate of Mount Perrin, and he loves this place. We're happy to be here tonight. Again, I'm Pam Ross, Director of Admission. I want to take a minute to introduce to you Jason Rutland, who is a representative in my office that works with students here at Mount Perrin, and he will be your new best friend and does a wonderful, wonderful job connecting students to our university. Anderson is located in South Carolina, about 2 hours from here. In fact, we sit exactly 2 hours from Atlanta, Georgia, and Charlotte, North Carolina on I-85 corridor. Anderson is a wonderful Christian community of faculty, staff, and students who are really dedicated to helping young people find their calling in life. For us, it's very much about finding servant leaders who really value that their life is bigger than themselves, and they want to take whatever profession God directs them toward and make their life very significant in that work. We do not require our students to sign a statement of faith. We welcome all students who meet admission requirements, but we have a very dynamic group of young people studying with us. Our campus this year has grown now to 2,700 students. That was up from 1,400 students in the year 2000. So we are in huge growth mode right now, and we're loving it as we continue to try to situate everyone in a happy and contented place as we grow. Some of the things I just want to make sure I share with you quickly, and then I have a word of advice. We have a wonderful graphic arts program for those who have that interest. Anderson University was the only university in the nation to have 2 students win gold Addy Awards We also have a phenomenal Division II athletic program with 17 sports for those of you who are interested in that. And our men's basketball program went to the Elite Eight in Division II basketball this past year. We also, might I add to that thought, had a young man in 2009 who was named the NCAA Male Sportsmanship Athlete of the Year for the entire country, who was in our wrestling program, a dynamic and wonderful man of character. And let me also just note in conclusion that we have a wonderful acceptance rate into medical school for those who are seeking a degree in the sciences. And we have had that program growing faster than any other, though we also have a phenomenal teacher education program and a very unique interior design program for those who might be looking for that. Now let me step back and just add this piece of advice. I'm a mother, and I settled my first child into college this fall. So let me just give this piece of advice to those of you who are sitting there with your junior son or daughter. The time will pass very, very quickly. Hold tight to them, give them that direction and guidance, but know that it's going to happen faster than you would wish. We're happy to be here to develop this partnership with Mount Perrin and look forward to working with your students. And we did have our first Mount Perrin graduate land Anderson University this fall, Allie Horvath, and we're delighted to have her there in the teacher education program.
If Jacksonville State is like the teacher school in Alabama as it started, we would say the same about Anderson, is strong, strong roots in education. Jordan Hassel is our new regional recruiter for Berry College. One of the really special things about Berry, besides the fact that my nephew went to school there, was an All-American on the baseball team and loved it. I actually interviewed for a coaching job up there as well. It is just, if you haven't been, it's one of the most beautiful college campuses in the entire country. And I think that there's a reason why we send 5 or 6 students there every year. I think we have a great relationship with you guys, and we're welcoming you to campus for the first time, Jordan. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's great to be here at Mount Perrin. I am new to recruiting in Cobb County. I have been in the Berry Admissions Office. This will be my 6th year recruiting in Atlanta, but never in Cobb County, so I'm excited to be here. This school is beautiful, so I'm happy to work with you guys this year. My name is Jordan Hassel. I am the regional recruiter in the Metro Atlanta area for Berry College. Berry is a national private liberal arts institution in Rome, Georgia. We have about 1,900 students, so we are a small student body. We are not a small campus. We are, in fact, the world's largest college campus with just over 26,000 acres. So a beautiful space. If you haven't been to visit, come see it. It's worth the short drive up to check it out. Berry really values experience, and we push on campus all of our students being involved firsthand. That starts in the classroom with small class sizes, 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, but we also take that a step further with our work experience program. Every Berry student is guaranteed an on-campus job for all 4 years. It's a developmental program. You start at a level 1 job and work your way up. We want every student to be in a level 4 or 5 job by the time they graduate, which means they're having meaningful and developmental work experiences. They are supervising other students. They are managing projects and making decisions. We are very proud of what our students are able to accomplish, and we think that the work program really adds a lot to what they're doing academically. As far as majors go, we have about 40 different programs. Our most popular majors right now are animal science. A lot of those students are on the pre-vet track. We also have a very strong education program, psychology, communication, and biology. Those are some of the top programs right now. For a liberal arts school, we do have a large percentage of our students studying math and science, really excellent facilities and really strong opportunities for research and development in those programs. But again, visiting campus is something I would highly recommend. It's a beautiful place to see, lots of deer, lots of scenery, so come check it out. Just about an hour north of here. So we'd love to have you, and thanks so much for having me tonight.
If you can believe it, when the tornadoes came through there, they did not lose one building. It's just unbelievable. A lot of trees, but no buildings and no people, a lot of cars.
Yeah.
Wendy told me. But thank you all, panel, very much. And I'm gonna give you a minute to think while I introduce our guests in the audience here about your Mythbusters. I love this segment of the thing. It's one of our favorite things that we do, and this is where the college reps get to bust up the myths that are out there. And we've got a few funny ones already we've been talking about. But one of the things, before we get started, Jed Appleruth, I want to bring you down front. Jed Appleruth is the founder and CEO of Appleruth Tutoring. We had Princeton Review, was also scheduled here tonight, but Jennifer got sick, so as Jed comes to the front, I have a couple of things I want to give away, and Jed, I'm going to let you come on up and just talk for me. Yeah, because we have seen some dramatic improvement in our test scores with the Princeton Review and Appleruth on campus. And I'm not trying to brag or anything, this guy did get a perfect score on the SAT, is valedictorian at Pace Academy, so we can definitely say he's an expert. And I appreciate him taking his time and giving us his services tonight. But before I do that, Princeton Review, as I said, the rep is sick, Jennifer, and she's going to send our, in fact, who is Brennan? You were my first one here tonight. You're going to get our Princeton Review book, okay, for the evening, for arriving first tonight. So I'll give that to you as soon as it's sent to me. But I got a couple of other giveaways. I don't know who would want to wear this houndstooth bracelet. Anybody interested in this houndstooth bracelet? That's something to do with Alabama. Oh, okay. All right, so anybody interested in Alabama tonight? All right, come on down, right here. Yeah, okay, that's a dab, that's a lump. Come on down, get that houndstooth thing right there. And then here's one from Auburn. I want to give that away. Or Eagle, all right? I had those in my office. And then I had something else I thought I could get rid of. I'm not sure if anybody wants this at all, but it's up here for grabs. And what? I was like, I'm dragging the barrel now. All right, yeah. All right, so Jed Appleroot, tell us about the testing services and what the trends are right now. And then as we go into the Mythbusters, you guys be thinking about, we're going to popcorn it after this and hit it hard with the Mythbusters section. I love being on time.
Sure. All right, thanks very much. In terms of the testing piece, that's what we do. We help students get the GPAs, and of course, they need for the schools they're applying to. In terms of trends, I was informed today that National Merit for Georgia is 218. It's our biggest, highest it's ever been. So one thing we're seeing, and there's an article in the AJC on Friday or Thursday you probably saw about the scores. And this demographic is a pretty big pool, and people are prepping more. So the numbers are going up across the board. Sometimes looking at the numbers 10 years ago when it started, and numbers now, everything's pretty much 100 points higher, it seems, at most of the schools, especially with Hope Scholarship here in Georgia, how it's changed things. The numbers, when it comes down to testing, make sure you have a dual baseline, SAT versus ACT. Schools are indifferent which one gets you in. From Georgia to Harvard, doesn't matter. The main thing is what's better for your kid. And the only way to find out is have a baseline of each test. Start early. That's one thing too. Often folks wait too long. When I'm calling the shots for my students, up a few a year, we actually are often done by January or March with testing. For the juniors, for students who've done with Algebra 2 already. My students, their last test almost always is June. And often with kids, we're talking about November, December, January, and they have their scores. And then for the APs in May, we'll also double up and take the corresponding SAT subject tests in May. So I like having the summer for the SATs, the applications, everything else, as well as getting your visits ready. Whenever students are low in energy and motivation for SAT, ACT prep, college visits. Go into college, all of a sudden, they have a 1050. All of a sudden you realize, I want this school, I need a 1250, and that's motivating. That's very emotionally energizing. It gets them really plugged in, having an experience on the campus. So that's very impactful. In terms of on the back end, once you're seniors, in terms of, is October your drop dead date? For most of our students, it's not. A lot of students will be able to apply early decision with November scores. And you also have November and December if you're applying in January with everyone else. So don't sweat it, but honestly start earlier. Don't wait until the spring to begin. If you want to have a change, you want to have more time in front of you. Also, the more options in front of you, the less anxiety there is, the less stress there is. So that's my major counsel.
That's great. All right, let's go down. That's a good segue. Let's do Jed's segue right there for your admissions requirements. Okay, so Kate, you ready to start with that? Well, I said I was going to start down here online. Go ahead and give us your mid-range admissions requirements just so you can see what the standards are. You guys are capping enrollment or not?
We are. We have capped at 25,000. So freshman class size for 2012 will be a little bit smaller after, again, winning that small championship. Applications kind of went through the roof as did enrollment. So we're enrolling about 4,300 this year. As far as test scores and GPA, for middle 50% GPA, Auburn is going to be a weighted and cumulative GPA. So that's everything and then any honors or AP quality points that you've received. It's about a 3.4 to 3.9. And this is based on 2010. We'll release 2011 numbers in about 15 days. For test scores, SAT, ACT, doesn't matter to us which one you take. I would encourage you to take both. For ACT, that's about a 24 to about a 30 range. SAT, that's about 1,100 to 1,320. For SAT, it's out of the 1,600 score, and Auburn does not super score. So we're only going to look at your highest test date from one sitting.
And this is going to be for every school. You're going to want to do they super score? What is their mid-range? What is the lowest? What is the highest? So let's just give me the stats on them right now.
For Covenant College, we do super score. And our mid-range is basically for GPA a 3.49 up to a 3.95. And then ACT, we're mid-range around a 25 to a 27. And SAT is pretty comparable. But to get into the college, you have to have at least a 2.5 GPA and a 21 ACT, and then obviously above that is better. So
All these stats are available on their admissions pages, but we just want to hear them.
At JSU, unconditional acceptance starts at a 20 on the ACT or a 950 on the critical reading and math, and we do not super score. We just go off a composite score. And that's all that we're looking at for admission.
Our general admission standard at Alabama are 3.0 GPA, a 21 on the ACT or 1,000, and a 1,600 with critical reading and math on the SAT. We do not super score either test either. Every student, however, is considered individually. So by no means are those general standards requirements or minimums. They're just recommendations for you to go by. So.
At Lee University, one of the mythbusters I would offer right away that the requirements for the ACT, SAT scores are indicative of the quality that you receive. We have an inclusive and holistic admissions policy, which means we give students a chance. Generally speaking, we do not accept everyone, but our general admissions policy to get accepted is a 2.0 and a 17. Our average ACT score at freshman class year was 24, and we had the highest rating ACT that we've ever had before. We do not super score. We only take scores from one test date.
I'm going to make it complicated because I have two different divisions to talk about, but grab one of these.
Just like Emory University to make it complicated.
That's right. That's what Sarah's going to be helping you out with in the future. But these shiny brochures are really great, not just because they make great trash can fillers, but they also have a lot of helpful information on them, so make sure you take a hold of these before you leave. But the mid 50% ranges for Emory College, we do super score your SAT. You don't want somebody like me trying to super score an ACT subject test individually, but we do take your highest overall ACT score. So again, Oxford and Emory both super scoring. We do require all three sections. It's a 220 to 2220 on the Emory College SAT mid 50, and ACT is 30 to 33. GPA, this is the first year we put it on there. We try to shy away from that because we look at it on an unweighted scale and on an individual high school basis. So Coach Tagg says it's a school profile. We take a look at the curriculum offered and how you did in it. And we're more concerned about your curriculum than GPA, but it's listed here as a 378 to 40. For Oxford College, the 50% range, 1750 to 2040 on the SAT, 25 to 29 on the ACT, and the GPA unweighted is 333 to 378.
Okay, Mississippi State, our average is a 3.2 GPA with a 24 ACT, which is a 1090 SAT without the writing, so we're only going to take your score out of the 1600, and we do not super score.
At Anderson, we're looking for students to have at least a 3.0 grade point average in high school curriculum, in solid high school curriculum, and we're looking for at least a 21 ACT or 1,000 SAT with just critical reading and math considered.
At Berry, we are primarily concerned with your academic record. We're looking at three things: your GPA in your core classes, your curriculum choice, and then your highest testing, SAT or ACT. Most students have a 3.0 or higher. The mid 50% is between a 3.4 to 3.9. Test-wise, most students this year had a 24 ACT or higher or an 1100 critical reading and math or higher. Again, those are not minimums, just recommendations based on our class profile, and we do consider every applicant individually.
All right, so that takes us into our Mythbusters. If I don't have these exact perfect scores, I can never get into your college, right? No, wrong. There's always exceptions, and whether it's scores, whether it's, I'm going to tell you a neat story too. Furman University, I don't know if you guys have heard, they've dropped their entrance. No SAT, no ACT required. They're going strictly on that rigor curriculum and classes taken and letters of recommendation and extracurriculars. And so that's might be a trend that we see. It's not right now in the general public. DePaul University did the same thing last year. So we're seeing a couple of schools do that. All right, our Mythbusters segment. This is kind of a neat thing that Wofford College does. It's called Dear Me. And they ask, from each department, they ask one of the graduating seniors to write to the incoming freshmen themselves, dear me, what they wish they would have known their freshman year, and they're writing a letter to themselves now. And so I'm asking these college reps to kind of write a letter. Dear juniors, this is what I wish all juniors would know, or Mythbusters. Like, I'm going to tee one off. Andy, you want to do yours about the Hope Scholarship in Alabama? This is my favorite one. Alabama, is it true that Alabama takes the Hope Scholarship?
Yes, we take it, but Governor Deal's not sending it.
They will take the Hope Scholarship, but for some reason, the deal will not send it to them. So that's a Mythbuster. So how many of you, what schools do take the Hope Scholarship? Raise your hand, the schools that are on stage right now. Okay. 2, 3 of these schools, equivalents of the Hope Scholarship. Okay. All right. My favorite one, the email one. Anybody want to comment on the email one? Lolly, 5 lollies. 5 lollies and 5 numbers at AOL.com. Is that your favorite email to get? Lolly at 1, 2.
I think my favorite has been Roll Tide Forever, and they're so interested in coming to Auburn. But no, we a lot of times are collecting your email address on cards that you're handwriting at our tables or at college fairs and things like that. So just be very clear in your writing. A lot of times we can follow up if you have a school address and kind of check that way as well. And then I am serious about the ringback tones. A lot have gone away from that now, but when we call to leave a message, we do want to know that we're leaving it with the correct individual, especially if it's about your application or scholarship or anything like that.
So you're not interested in hearing my favorite song?
I'm not at all.
Just to piggyback off of what you were talking about with the Hope Scholarship, a big myth out there is that parents say, my student cannot look at an out-of-state school because it's too expensive, correct?
I'm looking at out-of-state tuition. There's no way I can afford it. I am not going to apply there. Don't even think about applying to an out-of-state school.
Well, that is a big myth because most of the time, even though we don't accept Hope Scholarship, we do offer really good scholarships for out-of-state students. Now, every school is going to be different with their qualifications and how you receive that and with their deadlines, but make sure you ask because there are really good scholarships for out-of-state students to help with that.
Okay, and I know and I know Pam, you want to talk to that as well, because my nephew almost was paying the same for a state school as he was at Berry with the work-study program and with the other leadership scholarships that he received. So they're not just state. It's not just state money that you have to give.
Exactly, and kind of going on that, the myth that I would like to bust is that I should not file a FAFSA because I make too much money to get any assistance, but I don't make enough to afford a private college. And that is generally not the case. Berry is committed to making our cost affordable for the average family. And we want to do everything we can to make that possible. So even if you're not qualifying for the Pell Grant or other federal aid, does not mean you're not going to qualify for need-based aid from Berry, and we can't give it to you if you don't apply for it. So the FAFSA is a really important step in the process for everyone. We encourage every family to apply to be sure you're not missing out on any of those opportunities.
I think that's a great point. And to that point, one of my favorite vignettes from our personal testimony from our family is that one of my nieces, and we've all experienced the downturn in economic times, and her father's work, rather than laying people off, they all took a cut in the business. And so their FAFSA was reconfigured, and the difference between her going to the University of Georgia, the team Dr. Tilley and I really love to hate, all right?
Exactly.
We don't even speak that around his office, except in Miss Pam's office. The difference between Davidson College and the University of Georgia turned out to be $1,200. I said, I will write the check personally to send her to Davidson College. Okay, as a Georgia Tech grad, I was happy to do that. Pam, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to also, in the form of a Mythbuster, make sure you guys know that typically when you cross state lines to go to private schools, you do not pay out-of-state fees. You pay the same as that the in-state students are paying. The total cost of tuition fees running the board is exactly the same for out-of-state students and for in-state students.
That's a great point. Nick, you want to speak to that?
I'm actually going to take us away from.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
This is your guys'
Okay.
time.
I thought we were
And then we're going into the
so,
audience.
yeah. I think that mine is directed at parents, which is sort of ironic because my point is that this is really about the student. I got a phone call the other day, and the person on the other end said, "Hi, I'm a graduating senior this year, and I have a couple of questions," and I could immediately tell that it was the parent.
This is a good story.
I heard lots and lots of excuses about why the student isn't following up with us. My student's too busy, they're in a lot of extracurricular activities, they're working on their essay. It's important for you to know, students, that this is your process. It's, we're not admitting your mom or your dad. Mom and dad, we're not admitting you. We're admitting your son or daughter. The last 4 years of culmination is coming to an end. And the person that you've been crafting and creating and molding and shaping is the person that we want to get to see. So make sure that they're the person signing through on their application. Make sure they're the one sending us the email. Nothing is more frustrating than when you come to visit our campus and we ask them to fill out the information card and the parent asks them to put their email down instead of theirs, or if you're setting up a visit, the parents want the confirmation. Make your students take ownership in this. Juniors, seniors, this is your time to get online, make those college appointments, use your own email address, because a lot of times we're capturing that information to start communicating with you early. So mom and dad, don't call me to tell me that you're
Yeah, that's a great point, and Allison, I want to let you go next. Here's a true story. A college rep called me and said that the worst thing they've ever heard about that situation was that they felt like the parent had written the college essay for the kid. And I said, well, what did you do? And because this college rep was saying to me, I think the parent's a little too involved. Can you help me sort of navigate this process a little bit? I said, sure. And it turns out that the parent had written the college essay. And the way they determined it was they brought the student in. It was a phenomenal essay. She said they brought the student into the office and they said, we want you to do, we love your essay, we love everything about your application. We want you to do an in-person writing test. Because they were just going to compare the cadence of the parent's essay to the kid's essay. And it was obvious that there were two different things. Well, obviously this person lost admission into this college because of that. So this really happens. Allison?
Well, I'm a little disappointed because Emery stole mine, but I'll just add to that. It is very important for your student to take ownership and for you to shepherd them and help encourage them to take ownership of it, because it is very frustrating when they go to apply for financial aid and financial aid says that their social is wrong because you put their brother or sister's social security number down or their birth date wrong just because, there was just a simple confusion. So it is very frustrating. Plus, that's just only a disservice to your student when they go to the college campus and they need to get involved on campus or for internships. By helping them and helping shepherd them now, it's going to prepare them for their future, and they're going to be much more successful and able to do things and accomplish greater things on their own.
That's great. All right, we got time for a couple more. I'm going in the audience now. Raise your hand if you have a question. This is our last 15-minute segment right here. I think I was a junior in high school before I learned my name had an H in it. It was in the paper, and I said, Mom, they misspelled my name in the paper. It says Theresa. And she said, oh, honey. She goes, I just didn't want you to get confused. I'm sorry, I haven't told you. I was 17 years old. I was getting ready to go to college, and I was at Georgia Tech. I was like, yes, I have an H in my name. Okay, go ahead. And that's 25 years ago. Same things happened. Okay? Okay, we got one, and then we're going to have the parents raise their hands.
One more thing I know that we all talk about up here is don't be afraid to send your test scores to us, even if you are continuing the test. Don't hold those in, because we do some visitation opportunities in the junior year based on test scores. And we do purchase scores, but a lot of times students will say, my friend got invited, but I didn't for whatever visitation. And that's typically based on test scores, and that starts happening spring of the junior year.
Okay, great. Okay, questions? Parents, this is your last chance. Raise your hand and let's fire away. There's somebody out here. Yes, right here.
Is it important for the student to take the writing essay part of the ACT?
Even though you're not evaluating the writing part, why do you want them to take it?
We do require it. We have to see writing from either SAT or ACT.
We like to see it, but it's not required.
We do not require it.
We do require it, but it's not used in the admissions or scholarship process.
We do not require either an SAT or ACT.
We require it from both, and it's configured into the composite total score. We don't actually see the writing samples as an institution, we get the total score.
We do not require either one.
We do look at the writing score on the SAT, and it's automatic that you must take writing if you're taking the SAT. We recommend it for the ACT and do consider that score in admission.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend the writing section for the ACT, and the reason for that is just to have a more comprehensive look at the student. We want to be able to see that they have writing skills and how that's reflected, and while we may not use that score specifically for admission or scholarship consideration, we do want to see a sample of that, so it is important to take it if you can.
Can you talk about the visitation process a little bit? Like, when do you recommend it gets started? And do you recommend a day trip or an overnight?
Let's have, I want Kate, I want you to address that, and Aaron.
Yes, we encourage you to visit. I usually tell my students to visit more than once and visit in the different seasons, one being a big SEC. Everybody wants to visit the fall, and it's great, it's fun, but football usually ends, hopefully in January each year. But to also visit spring or summer so you can see the different seasons. And we usually recommend spring of the junior year to start visiting.
And I think it's also good to have a different type of visit. Sometimes they do, like we offer one-on-one visits, we do offer all-day visits. So for the student to get a different type of visit every time they're coming, so a different type of event, so they're not doing the same thing over and over again, that way they can also get to meet other students from different areas and get to learn more things about the campus. And most all of our campus visit information is going to be online, and that's how you're going to be able to schedule it or register for it. But definitely spring of junior year. Also, one thing about the meds that I do want to point out, we know this is an overwhelming process, and it can be really fun and exciting, but it can also be overwhelming. And we are here to help you. There are people like us with every school, and our job is to help you throughout the process, students and parents. We want to get to know you, and we are here to help you and be your biggest advocate. So please get to know us, and please let any of us know if you have any questions, because that is our job, is to help make this really fun and exciting and easy process.
And how many of you all as regional recruiters, like Andy, you go ahead and would meet with students here in the area if you call them? Okay, great. Yeah, and hey, listen, all Allison needs an excuse to come back home. Okay, she's ready to come.
I'll say on the campus visitation, take ownership of your visit. It's not our visit. You know, don't say, well, what would you have me do? What would you want me to see at the campus? I don't know. What I want you to see is not going to be part of what you want to see. So don't be afraid to, say, this is exactly what I want to do. Trust me, if you can't do it for some reason, we'll tell you, and we'll have a good reason for that. But, definitely own your visit and make sure that it is exactly what you want it to be.
Okay, Phil, talk about that, and then I got two more questions. How many of you all give scholarships based on merit scores? High scores get high money? Raise your hands, yeah, everybody. How many of you all give extracurricular and leadership scholarships that have nothing to do with scores? Yeah, I mean, there's all, your websites are full of them where you can, whether it's a fraternity or a business department or a College of Communications gives a leadership scholarship. Address that. Phil, you go ahead, and then Allison, you address that, why the extracurriculars are important.
I just want to say real quickly about the visit at a place like Lee. We're just 2 hours away, but even still, we fight the no-name institution. So people say Lehigh or Washington and Lee, and no, we're Lee University. So to fight the no-name, we are eager to get you to visit, especially when you get a good referral from someone who knows about us. So we really enjoy the one-to-one family visits. We were able to do that. We did about 2,500 of those last year. We have big visit days as well, but for the smaller schools like us, we really encourage that one-to-one visit where you'll get intimate attention even during the visit process.
We like to say you got to go to know. You got to go to know, and you'll just get a feeling. But there's something about getting on that college campus and seeing what the students look like and what you feel like when you're walking across it.
To touch on the leadership scholarship at JSU, we do offer a leadership scholarship, but you do have to have a 20 on the ACT and at least a 2.5 GPA. But it is based off of leadership activities held, community service, and your involvement in your high school as well. But I'm glad you asked that about involvement. Leadership, that is one of my favorite aspects of college. That is what makes your college experience. Whether you join a Greek organization, you get involved with the Student Government Association, whether you're in a religious organization, a professional society, honor society, that is what is going to make your college experience. Plus, it's going to build your resume. You're going to make a lot more friends. You're going to enjoy your college experience much more, but you're also going to build your resume, and you're much more likely to earn a scholarship. I came to JSU without any scholarships. And every year through my involvement, I earned different scholarships through the Miss JSU pageant, through a dance line on campus, through my sorority, through the Student Government Association, through an honor society. By the time I was a senior, I had a full ride to the university. All that was because of my involvement. When I graduated from college, my very first job, I was out of the country. I didn't even get to interview for it. But based on the leadership positions that was listed on my resume from college, I was hired for that position. So it really can help set you apart from the next person applying for a job. In an economy like today, when there's a lot of people applying for a job, a 4.0 is a 4.0, but when you can show that you've got work experience and you have contacts and you have leadership positions and you can handle responsibility and you've got time management, and you can multitask, that is really going to help set you apart from the next person applying for a job.
Are there any scholarship websites that you guys can recommend? I know, Andy, you talked about fastweb.com, www.fastweb.com. There's a link to it on our guidance website, www.fastweb.com. Also on the Naviance college counseling website, which your kids are getting connected to as we speak. There are lots of scholarship opportunities. I know one of our students that went to Auburn University literally chased down $12,000, and it's not free money. I mean, she chased it down. But by the time she graduated, and by the time she went to Auburn University, she had chased down $12,000 and closed the gap in her out-of-state tuition.
This is kind of with scholarships. On the FAFSA, it stands for the free application for federal student aid. So please do not pay $75 to a company that's going to help you with the FAFSA, because that is not legit at all.
Free, that's exactly right. I'm sure, I'm not going to make a joke about our government right now. It's not appropriate. Okay, Dr. Tilly might later, though. See him. Okay, anything else, because we're getting ready to close up, guys. Anything else that you want to speak to, Naren?
Just one follow word of advice. Please make sure you know deadlines. Every one of us
Deadlines,
has
that's
different
huge.
deadlines.
Okay, every one of you has different deadlines. If I said November 1, if I said October 15, if I said December 1, there'd be scholarship deadlines. There's early decision deadlines. There's regular decision deadlines. Normally around January 1, January 15. All the early ones are in October and November. Talk to that.
And if you don't know the deadlines, it's really hard for us to help you when you've missed a deadline. We can help you in a lot of different ways, but if you miss a deadline, it's really kind of out of our hands. So doing that research early on to knowing if you're doing early action or you're doing a rolling admission or what scholarship deadlines are, to know what those deadlines are, mark those in your calendar and make sure you do not miss deadlines.
Juniors, mark them now. Yes. Mark them now, and they'll change. I mean, Kate's got some with her right now. She wants to display. We had a senior miss a major deadline, and it wasn't for lack of knowledge. It was just for lack of application of that knowledge. And it was heartbreaking, but there was absolutely nothing that any of us could do to help that young person. And it was just, they were at this meeting last year. And so you've got to get those on your calendar now this year, and then they might change a little bit. Any other closing thoughts that you guys have? Nothing? Okay, any other questions? We've got time maybe for one more question, and then I've got some closing thoughts here. This was a really cool thing that a dad and his son spent time doing 2 years ago. It's the most thorough college assessment I've ever seen. Okay? Spreadsheet. All right? Here's the list of things that this is what this dad and son evaluated you on. And, okay, I'll just read the schools that they were evaluating. Princeton, Presbyterian, Harvard, Wheaton, Yale, Georgia. I like it says GIT. That's a man who knows what Georgia Tech is. Georgia Institute of Technology. Grove City, MIT, Duke, Emory, Messiah, Stanford, John Brown. Here's what they evaluated you on. Postgraduate, and it was high, medium, low. And I'll give any of you guys a copy of this electronically, so don't worry about it. Networking, employability. Do you have a grad school? Is a grad school placement, high, medium, low? They're evaluating you. Academics, graduation rates, smart peers. Course quality, class size, student-faculty ratio, majors offered, study abroad, faculty or grads teaching, internships, vocational or liberal arts, quality faculty, skills, reputation, industry connections, relationships, friends, mentoring, future wife. I thought that was good. How many of you met your spouses in college? Raise your hand if you met your spouses in college. I think it's a great evaluation. Industry connections, school atmosphere, character building, biblical worldview, studious versus party, spiritual life on campus, things to do, stuff to do, things to do off campus, safety, clubs and groups on campus, financial school resources, low-cost facilities, wired and computers, on campus, off campus, housing options, library, laboratories, attractive campus, close to home, close to nature, close to a big city, administratively, financial aid, career guidance, tutoring, and roommate disputes.
I'd like to see that list since we were on it before you distribute it to everybody. But that's more in depth, I think, than I've ever seen. I think the last piece of advice: find a way that's fun for you. I mean, if you're a statistics person and that seems appealing, then please do it and keep it private. But unless it's good, right, then you can send it to us. But you know, if it's more fun for you to go and visit the campus and then take pictures and look back at them, or if it's more fun to scrapbook about it, or blog about it, or tweet about it, or whatever it is that's going on now, then make sure that you're doing it in a fun way too, because this process only happens once, hopefully.
Wow. Here's the thing. Time is ticking. My little timer's just going off right there. It's 8 o'clock. The best and it's the fastest 60 minutes in college counseling. I could sit here with these guys all night. They know absolutely what we're talking about. And they're going to stay for an extra 30 minutes to service you. I want to thank Cornerstone Preparatory Academy for coming, Trinity Christian Academy, some of the local homeschools that are in the area. Let's give our guests a hand tonight.